Good evening, everyone. This is VB Liberty, our Wednesday night podcast, sponsored by the Tidewater Liberty Partners and the Virginia Beach Tea Party. I'm Diana Howard, chair of the Virginia Beach Tea Party, sitting in for John Moss tonight. And announcements to make: our Virginia Beach Tea Party is held the second Thursday of the month at 7 p.m. at Masonic Lodge, 2849 Princess Anne Road. And it's going to be a city council forum. We have district candidates from District 1, 3, 5, 7, and 8 coming. So bring your questions and let's find out what they think about the issues that you care most about. Tonight we're going to be talking about hurricane preparedness, and we have with us Bob Jennings from the Plaza Civic League, and he was one of the victims of Hurricane Matthew, and he's going to be talking about what we need to do to prepare for a hurricane. To you, Bob.
Oh, okay. So in our area we have about 1.8 million people in Hampton Roads. And if we have a major hurricane, the NOAA and the National Hurricane Center, and even a study that was done by Old Dominion University's Modeling Analysis and Simulation Center, show that a ocean storm surge would come through and inundate all of Hampton Roads. And it would cause a report that was written about a year ago now from Old Dominion. It was about 40 or 42 billion dollars in damage. It would take as much as 10 years to try to recover. Now the amount of water that comes in for people with single family homes could be devastating. It's not like the flooding that we're used to with the cars, the roadways, and your houses. This is seawater, not falling rainwater. So it's salt water. And so it will take out the transformers and because of the height that it would get. And you would lose power, and that means the water doesn't work because the pump stations don't work, and the sewer pump stations don't work, and they would be out for a considerable amount of time, maybe months or even a year, as they tried to replace them. So people that stayed in the area would become survivor victims in trying to survive from little assistance that would be left. The first responders and all the emergency management folks that we have are limited to trying to survive, to rescue and get a few people, not masses of people. And so therefore you're going to be your own first responder, or your neighbor is. And my determination is the best way to do this is to, if we have a major hurricane, that's a 3 or 4 or 5, that you would evacuate early. And that's your only chance of really survival, of not taking the great risk of many people dying. Again, that's 1.8 million people, so you have to stage it and organize retreat. Otherwise, it's like being in a building and everybody panicking and running for the door, and people trample over each other, and you would have traffic backups and everything. They experienced this after Hurricane Katrina, when another hurricane a few months later hit in Texas, and people got stranded on the interstate, couldn't go anywhere, and the hurricane was blowing all around them. So they had only the food and water they had with them, and they had no bathroom until the thing was over. And so you don't want to get trapped like that. You want to leave early, and you have basically 64, 58, and 460 are the main routes. But you also have to understand that part of North Carolina, we're their evacuation route. So they're going to be coming up here too, or 4, because they're going to be hit first, so they're going to leave earlier than you did. So you need to stage that. You need to know what your zone is. The governor of Virginia has said Zone A was to evacuate, and that was one of the previous hurricanes that we had just a few years ago. So there's A, B, C, and D zone, and you need to know what zone you're in, and you may want to evacuate even earlier. So the issue is, where do you go? Do you go to Richmond? Do you go to Emporia? on 58, do you go to Suffolk or beyond? Because there's not that many hotels for the masses of people that we need to evacuate in time for a major hurricane. And the issue is that we have to do that orderly and planning. And of course, you're going to need things like medicines to take with you, pet carriers to put your pets in, because people won't leave without their pets. And one of the biggest things that you could do is, and I think it would have saved many people who didn't believe or didn't understand how high the water could get, and these people drowned, and that's have a life preserver. If you saw the movie Tidewater, which was a documentary on the military here in Hampton Roads, the lady there was talking to the Hampton Roads Planning District Commission, and she had a life preserver for her mother, because that was the best that they could do. Now, some folks don't have the wherewithal or the money in which to leave. So you have to make arrangements with folks or get with this too, and that's where the government can come in. You can use school buses to relocate you. I have another house up in Suffolk, and it's 72 feet above sea level. And that house there's a U.S. Geological Survey marker on the corner of my property. And so that is a safe place because it's higher ground, but there's no higher ground around it that would cause a river or rain or something to come down on you. So if you head toward Richmond or the mountains or something like that, you still have to be careful because of the amount of rainfall that comes down. We have what we call atmospheric rivers now. The amount of moisture and water it's being held in the atmosphere. And as these storms come through, these tropical storms, they wring that water out and drop it in what people refer to as rain bottles. And so it is very important to keep your car in good shape, keep your car filled with fuel during those hurricane seasons, and also to have your medicines, your pets, and telephones charged, maybe even an old solar panel charger for your phone. Some folks, if you lose power or you don't have cell coverage and you're lost, you can in advance download from the satellite or download from Google the map of your area or areas you're going to. And when you do that, even though you don't have cell tower, your satellites still work, so you can still find your cell. And that's an important thing.
Okay. Well, we have a couple other guests that are just arriving right now, but aren't some of the other things you should bring, like a blanket, flashlight?
Right. Okay, and so you're going to need to put a kit together, and what some people call a go bag, a first aid kit, and some people take, and so if you go to an area where there's masses of number of people, some people will take and put shirts of a different color or the same color, like an orange or a green or something, on their kids, so they can spot them if they get mangled in with a lot of folks. You want to have enough food and stuff. Some folks say, well, in case of a big disaster, I need gold. But nobody's going to take your gold. What they're going to take is your canned goods, your food, your water, and things that they can trade back and forth if you have a natural disaster that goes on for some time. So having a good kit with a go bag ready to go with your documents of your home and stuff, because that's going to be important.
In a waterproof container.
Absolutely, waterproof container is going to be very important to your survival and to be able to get back. Also, really important, before you leave your home, take pictures of your inside of your home in good high resolution with your camera or with your cell phone, and have those so that you can, both pictures and a video, so that you can document what your property looked like prior to the event. And then if the event occurs and you have flood insurance or you have regular home insurance, which doesn't cover flood, then you can document that you did have those pieces of personal property and get paid for them.
Okay. Okay, and now joining us in the studio is Amy Pullman? Paul. And Briar Bachman?
Yes, ma'am.
And Jean?
Jonathan.
Jonathan Paul.
Oh, that's close.
Jonathan Paul, okay. So Amy and Paul are from J-Dog, right?
Yeah.
What's the name of your company?
Offload moving.
Offload movie. Could you tell us what you're doing with your now have friends or ties to West North Carolina, where they just got devastated by Helene? So
Yeah.
do you want to talk about that?
Absolutely. Thanks for having us tonight. Sorry we're late, but it's been a busy day coordinating donations and other activities to help and support the relief efforts in Western North Carolina. An area near and dear to my heart. I was born and raised in Morehead City, but moved up to Hendersonville in the 6th grade. My father went to seminary at Fruitland Baptist Institute, which is right there in Edneyville, and then was a minister in Buncombe County for all of my high school years, and that's where I joined the Navy from, and ultimately ended up here in Virginia Beach in 2000. But the area is, it's where I grew up. So Sunday evening, seeing friends post, hey, where's mom and dad? Hey, have we heard from this person? Have we heard from that person? It started realizing how the impact is, because I know how resilient these people are. And the concern that was immediately posted on social media platforms, really spiked an interest of, hey, something more is going on up there than just some heavy rainfall.
Right. Was it a hurricane at the time it hit there, or was it just a tropical storm?
I believe it was rated a tropical storm. I wasn't really following it. Once we saw the forecast as west of here, it's like, hey, let's worry about the threat that might come this way, not what's not.
Mm-hmm.
No. But so yeah, my brother's a law enforcement officer in North Carolina as well. He runs a 501c3 called the Honor Hike Foundation that is focused on the mental well-being of law enforcement officers and first responders. So he called me Sunday evening and he was like, hey man, he goes, I'm headed up west. I've got the MOU. Are you on board? I was like, no, I've got a business to run. And I hung up the phone and I'm like, I just told my brother, no, I can't provide help.
Did he ask for help, or did
He wanted me to go with him.
to what,
To-
evacuate his family?
Well,
or?
no, we have no family up there, but it's just friends, and we come from a
Okay.
family of service. And,
Okay.
and you don't turn down help, and when you are able to provide help, you provide.
So he wanted to go down there and
And
evacuate people.
help in any way possible. And it really hurt bad that I told him no, and basically told my friends in Western North Carolina no. So I was thinking, I was like, well, I've got a business to run. That means I've got a place here in Virginia Beach. I've got a network of people we have mentioned to. We'll pull everyone we can together. We'll get some donations, and we'll find a way to get it up to the western part of the state. We believe every little bit helps.
Mhm.
So, we're like, hey, we'll try this. And fired off the first social media post saying, guys, this is what we're going to do. I'm tied to the area, and would love to be able to do some donations, and we'll see what happens. Then I was like, man, how are we going to transport it?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's one thing to collect, but it's another thing to put it together. And about a year ago, we met Briar, Offload Moving, phenomenal company, a veteran himself. I was like, who better to call than the guy that has the trucks and knows how to move a lot of stuff quickly and safely.
Mm-hmm.
He's also a veteran, so he operates in arduous situations, dangerous situations, and is not afraid to run towards gunfire instead of run from. So I called Briar. I was like, hey man, I said, what are your thoughts on this? He goes, my thoughts were I was getting ready to call you. I mean, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, my dad's from Salisbury and Concord area, so they were a little, east of that area, but it's still, North Carolina. I moved down there. I moved 19 times in my life, so it was from North Virginia to North Carolina a lot. So I had some roots down there. My uncle, my mom, a lot of family went to Asheville for college, Boone, to Appalachian State. So no immediate family that lives there, but the connection will always be there in a sense. Like John and Amy, it was kind of more of like a, like not saying other people around weren't doing it, but we wanted to do it at a more vocal scale to where, like John said, we have a business here to run, but we also have time and effort and a voice, social media and our network to just be vocal with. Whether that's just having people start their own runs. I had a some people with Remax and everything. One of their agents and husbands found out their Cessna today to drop off supplies. So just like stuff that you wouldn't really see, about 5 hours away from somewhere that got hit, to be so as like almost one as a community. It's been outstanding with everyone that came together. I mean, I think we just started accepting donations Monday, and I don't think they've stopped in the past 48 hours. From Amazon deliveries, from Uber Eats, people delivering just waters to us, and also people during the lunch breaks, when they're off of work, dropping off stuff at their warehouse and my warehouse, and multiple drop-off locations across Hampton Roads. Honestly, it's been a not a sigh of relief, but it's kind of been a beacon of hope. 5 to 6 hours away, and that's all we can ask for. I mean, especially especially with Western North Carolina, not having any signal or anything, kind of being their voices to be heard, more or less.
Awesome. So how many truckloads are you going to
Yeah.
fill up?
So,
for
honestly,
or you
so-
don't know yet.
Well, no, so that's the unforeseen future, because we have so much stuff. We were planning on doing 2 trucks. We were planning, now with all the stuff we could be having, we're doing a drive with Noble Title on Saturday, which could bring a truckload by itself. Their warehouse, if we just came by, I think the second pickup in the past 2 days, just that alone could fill up one of our 26-foot box trucks. Not counting the stuff we received from donations could fill in the truck, and then Noble Title. So honestly, 4 trucks could easily be done. But for us, it's more like us, not saying us being veterans, it's more of getting eyes on what the logistics situation is. If there's no roads, then there's no sense of us taking all 4 trucks and just kind of being stuck there.
Okay, so you're going to go with a test run
Correct.
down
So
there with a load.
Yes, ma'am. So his brother Jeff's going down tomorrow, if I'm not
Yes.
mistaken.
Yep.
And myself and John will be taking 1 truck on Monday, just to kind of scope it out more or less, but have all the essential supplies, have a abundance of water, canned goods, batteries, headlamps, anything and everything, diapers, wipes, just to ensure what we do on that Monday is efficient enough, and then still we have time for another load that same week.
Awesome.
So that's the biggest thing.
So do you have people there on the ground reporting back to you on what's happening there?
We do. So Jeff, my brother, he is physically going up there tomorrow morning. He, through the Honor Hike Foundation and his ties to the law enforcement community all across North Carolina, and Smoke and Shields is a chapter in North Carolina dealing with the mental wellness of law enforcement officers. He's been able to reach out directly to various police chiefs and other authorities on the ground in the affected area, saying, what do you and your team need most to keep doing your mission? And that's what started this, and that's how we're prioritizing the very first load. The law enforcement officers are taking the brunt of doing the search and rescue, but they have family.
That's true, yes.
They're not guys from out of the area doing this. There was a story of one officer who was on paternity leave, and he got called back in thinking it was just going to be a long weekend, and got isolated from his wife and his newborn child, and everything's fine, fortunately, but there was a period there where he was extremely concerned, just like everybody else was. So, why do we focus on them? Let's give them a level of comfort, show our support to them so they can continue doing their job. Because the effects of the law enforcement officers doing missions like this and jobs like this are lifelong.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. So let's do everything we can to minimize that on the front end. But with that, and the response we got around here, it was like, holy cow, we've got more resources that want to help. We've had people, how can I help? Glad you're doing this. I wanted to do something. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to help. I can't drive up there. So we said, no, go as big as they can.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, Jeff is going to be up there tomorrow. He's going to have the route plan. We're getting escorted as appropriate and as needed. We'll have a drop-off location that's already identified there in the Henderson County area. They are expecting a truckload, so the resources that they can pull together. And we've organized the stuff that we're dropping off. We're taking the pallet jacks. We're taking the equipment also to offload. So it's not, hey, here's a truck and it's a burden, right? We want to do everything we can on this end to help them. So we do have people on the ground that we're communicating directly with that know the ground truth, as we call it, and he will be there as well to pass that liaison with us as we're traveling up.
Right. People just don't realize what water can do. I mean,
It's endless.
a hurricane is coming, right?
Yeah.
You evacuate, right?
Right.
But when it's just a tropical storm, like we were just getting those
I mean,
bands and
and you're-
everything,
yeah.
everybody's just staying put.
Yeah.
Well, it's just rain.
Yeah, I mean,
Right?
even if 300 miles off the coast of any coastal area, you know, i.e. like the beaches of North Carolina, you're not expecting any torrential, you know, flash floods, anything that could be devastating like it was. I mean, people still did evacuate because you never know, but at the same time, like you just said, most of the time when you see that tropical storm, like for us, we always think tropical storm is just another Tuesday for Virginia Beach. Like today.
Exactly. I mean,
So, yeah, so-
we all thought that until Matthew
Exactly.
hit,
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
and woke up the next
Yeah.
day, and you know,
So
neighborhoods
it's-
were underwater.
Yeah. So it's definitely, I mean, it's, you know, at the end of the day, I mean, being here in Hampton Roads, we deal with, I mean, we can have a flood in Norfolk when it's just a regular downpour.
Yeah.
But in the mountains, you know, they deal with snow when it melts, it runs off, it goes into the rivers rise a little. So they've dealt with flooding, but in the sense that it happened, it was definitely quick and overnight. I mean, that's as simple as it can go, and people were definitely not prepared, like most people around here are, like in the sense of going out buying stuff and just having stuff in the garage loaded for the next tropical storm that hits. And that's what we're trying to be for them now, is to be like that food bank for, you know, Western North Carolina more or less, to
Right.
be supplying.
Yeah, I seen a post, I think it was on your Facebook page, where the town, one of the towns there is now gone.
Many towns are now gone,
Wiped
Many.
out.
non-existent.
Yeah.
The Chimney Rock is where I had my first job. It's about 2.5 miles of tourist restaurants, you know, different knick-knack stores, things of that nature. There's a state park, I believe it's state, it might be national, that goes up to Chimney Rock. But the whole town is in a valley, a road, stores on each side. It is nothing but dirt and trees now, and some water running through it. Lake Lure, you can almost walk across because of all the debris that's been caught in there. That's the lake that was on Dancing around Dirty Dancing. You know, beautiful area that is completely unrecognizable now. The restaurant I was in, the family that we were all church members together, it doesn't exist.
It was all washed away.
Washed away. And it's not just water damage, it's gone. But the thing that gets me too, that, you know, the long lasting effects is the land is gone. So the owner of the restaurant, what do they have to come back to? That was a 4th generation owner, a guy that I'm friends with, same age. He was the 4th generation owner, 3rd or 4th. He doesn't have land to rebuild.
The land's not there, it's just
No,
all water, is it
erosion.
like a lake?
It's
Well,
pretty
the
much like a
erosion.
mudslide and you move
Oh.
forward.
Took it out.
That's all.
Let me ask you a question. Did it reach Banner Elk, or
It sure did.
Yeah.
what
As
about
far
the
as we know.
what about the Tweetsy Railroad?
You know, I haven't heard anything on Maggie Valley or Tweetsy
Yeah.
Railroad, and I don't want to speculate, but they're just saying all of Western North Carolina. I mean, the first reports over the weekend were all of Western North Carolina is closed.
Yeah.
Closed.
Grandfather-
Closed.
Yeah.
Grandfather Mountain, all that going up to it's probably. Is there any access to that now?
I think it's just by air.
Oh, just
If
by
I'm not
air.
mistaken,
A lot of it
most
is
Western
by
North
air.
Carolina, like
Yeah.
mountaintops, hills, are just by air, and they're doing airborne drops.
Lee's
supplies.
McRae College, how do they stand?
You know, I don't know all the details.
And
of all the
Appalachian-
different
I
areas.
know Appalachian State, Boone, they got
Yep.
flooded. They have
Yeah.
National Guard. I know personally, 'cause I'm in the Virginia National Guard. There's NC National Guard dropping supplies on the rooftops. I don't have any family there. Or like I have my uncle went there for college, only 4 years apart, so about 8 years ago.
At Appalachian?
Appalachian State. So
Yeah.
he has some friends. They were just there last week for their wedding anniversary. And the building that they have, it's the picture with the big, I think, star on it, and that's pretty much. And it's just the brick wall that's left.
I know Western Carolina opened up their campus for shelter. Asheville Buncombe Technical College and UNC Asheville both did the same thing, not just for
So
students.
they're
but-
still standing.
But
the
there's
colleges.
the
But
yeah.
it's the houses and the businesses,
Pretty
the
much
smaller
correct.
buildings that are
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
gone.
And then, of course, all the access roads, I-40, I think even I-77, I'm not mistaken.
Like 26, something
Yeah,
like that.
most of those are not accessible at all, or one lane at this point.
Now, you both were military,
Yes, sir.
Marine Corps?
Navy.
Army.
Amy,
Navy, he's
Amy.
Marine.
I'm married to the Navy.
Okay, well, Amy, just let me make sure that you understand this. The Marine Corps is a department of the Navy. It's called the Men's Department. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So,
Being this is the first visit to the house here,
What?
I'll accept that.
okay. 5 of us all Marine Corps. So, seriously, I guess, and you can jump in on this too, Bob. People don't understand now. There's no toilets in so many places. There's no running water. I mean, it's not. We used to dig straddle trenches and all that. So, what's the sanitation issue right now? Are there porta johns? I mean, what's going on?
I am seeing reports out of Black Mountain where, like at the public libraries and places like that, that they
Oh.
can get things and they're setting up porta johns and such.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about the guy on the mountain?
Yeah.
What about the guy that's up in the holler, as they call it, up
Yeah.
in Appalachia?
Right.
No food. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the only thing that we've seen is the airborne operation, that they take the helicopters, Cessnas, and just kind of airborne drop them. But with that, it's only 5,000 pounds, if that, per drop, and they're coming from Concord and Charlotte, which isn't. I mean, it's a quick flight, but doing the whole round trip, coming back, filling up, it's definitely taking a toll.
so
on
you're
the
taking a tractor trailer down. You're going to go as far south as you can go, or what's the game
We're going
plan?
to the Henderson County area.
Okay.
It's still TBD exactly where we're going to drop. My brother is up there tomorrow to figure, where is the drop location that's needed the most. The situation is always changing. So what we want to do is greatest impact in shortest amount of time. So where is that when we arrive Monday? And then assess where we are with resources back here, and a follow-on truck Tuesday or Wednesday may be possible, and it will absolutely be needed. It may be possible on our end. And we will adjust the plan accordingly.
Right. So wasn't it you that told me a helicopter went down somewhere and they were not allowed to land?
Yeah.
So,
It was just.
so that they're just
I can't remember where I
dropping stuff
heard
down
it.
because
I think
there's
maybe
no
Lisa
place
heard
to
it.
land?
Yeah,
Is that
I mean,
the thing?
Yeah.
So yeah, that
Not even a building
just,
top?
Of course, also, I mean, just the I hate to say the liability too. I mean, you already have victims that are trapped there that need evacuating, and then you have, not saying like unmanned aircraft, but aircraft that's not being regulated by the National Guard or by the local PD. You have, don't get me wrong, it's
What are these,
amazing.
are like personal
Oh, these are
helicopters?
Oh, these are
Civilian
civilians that
personal
have
helicopters.
pretty much signed themselves, which is awesome. Don't get me
Sure,
wrong, but when
sure.
it comes to like restricted airspace and everything, there's still, I hate to say, still laws in place, even though they're not always
It's an
being enforced.
emergency though.
Correct. So, but with that, I mean, when you have other aircraft like the DC National Guard, pretty much 7 other states that is the National Guard, as well as the local PD and the state PD that have their aircraft, it's a conflict in the air. I mean, you have to make sure that you have the right comms, you're not going to run into each other. It's kind of scary to say that if you don't think 2 helicopters run into each other, but it's 7, 8 o'clock at night when you can barely see.
Ah,
Just because you have lights that I can see on the ground doesn't mean that
there's
helicopter
no
in
lights
front of
on the
you.
ground.
Yeah, no, like once they come, like they're up in the air together, it's not saying that I can't see this
Yeah.
helicopter coming at me. So there has to be a lot more restrictions within the air.
Okay,
We have
a
a-
question online.
Yeah, we have a comment coming in from John Moss, who's running for mayor. It says, "Great show, great cause. Third world conditions for many. Is money desired more than goods? And if goods are there, are the goods more in demand, like baby formula?" What's
We
Do we have a list of
We
things
do
that
have
we
a
need
list.
to-
You do, okay.
And we have posted that on our social media pages. The list changes based on who you talk to, absolutely. But keep in mind, men and women can forge for themselves, children cannot.
right?
Mm,
Right.
And
Sure.
how much more pain does it cause to have a child suffering? So we have been, asked to push hard for baby equipment, diapers, all the stuff to provide
Clothing?
comfort. They're saying hold off on clothing because
Oh,
if
okay.
new rain comes in or anything, they have no shelter to put a lot of this stuff in. Canned goods and stuff like that, you can tarp it easily and give it out. Basic needs for life.
So are
is
they
what's there.
in any kind of shelter there? Or you said they were only at those 2
Well,
places? Is
There-
that where
There's shelters
everybody's
popping
at?
up, churches are coming
Oh,
together.
churches.
So honestly,
People are opening their houses for the local communities, and keep in mind, up in that area, you go down a dirt road, it's families of multiple generations on that one road. So they don't necessarily have the ability to call up their brother, sister, father, mother.
I'm
say,
sure there's no communication,
Hey,
you know,
I'm-
walkie-talkies.
Right, very probably not. I mean, they're used to having dinner at grandma's house and
Send
Uncle
a
John's
text saying,
house.
"Hey, I'm on the way."
Yeah.
Yep.
And but also, they don't have family outside of the area to call up and say, "Hey, I'm coming to you and
Good
spend
point.
a couple of weeks."
Good point.
Right.
This is generations old.
Oh yeah, I mean,
Generations
that's
old.
that's all of the Appalachian. I mean, even like Virginia, you can go all the way down to South Carolina. Honestly, it's all generational family. You have like same with the restaurant. You have four generations. That fourth generation grandfather could still be living on the same property he did back in the 30s. So it's definitely like back on that comment. You know, most of the stuff like canned goods and all, you can kind of use it over time, but diapers and all, you can't really control how kids use them. Formula goes as the baby needs. Wipes and all that, like, and that's something I've been kind of hitting more on is more wipes the better, because if it rains, paper towels get ruined.
Yes.
If it rains and wipes get wet, you just wring them out and use them. So there's definitely fine lines to what I call goods and what I call perishable goods. Some goods that you can keep using, and there's perishable goods that you use and are gone. And that's what we're trying to kind of hit on this first load is more of the good side. Of course, perishable goods, the food and all, but more of the good side, the diapers, wipes, stuff that can, it said be reused. Diapers are a little bit more difficult to use, the wipes, formula, even like the canned goods you can cook in. So there's multiple uses of a lot of things that most people don't think about because we have a cell phone. We have a TV,
Sure.
we have a food line right down the road, but now that we don't, you know, we kind of have to be a little bit more cognizant of what we get and what we have to use at that time.
So the grocery stores are washed away too.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few that may be around, but by this time with no power, all of their frozen goods, cold goods are gone. They may have canned goods and some other things, but at this point, with them only having maybe one depot to go to, by the time they probably had help or had even National Guardsmen or local PD, it was either probably looted, washed away in the rain, or ruined from the rain or from the mudslides.
And keep in mind, the people that operate the grocery stores are the ones affected.
Yeah.
True, true, yeah.
Absolutely.
That's
So-
too, yeah.
And a big issue up there is the transportation piece. I mean, it is, if Virginia Beach gets flooded, you have multiple roads to get around. You can get from here to Shore Drive 10 different ways, right?
Right, right.
To get from Back Cave to Black Mountain is across a mountain on a single road called Highway number 9, is the shortest and most direct, and that's like an hour-long drive. To get to Black Mountain elsewhere, you're driving an hour and a half through the mountains on another single road. It's not like, okay, if that's blocked in front of me, I can take this right turn, go down the next block, and keep on going.
Right, right.
And if a bridge washes out on both ends of a single road like that, and now you've
So
created
is that,
an island.
bridges are washed out as
Oh,
well,
absolutely, absolutely.
right? So nobody ever thinks of the mountain area flooding,
Right.
you know, they
No.
think of the low-lying
Yeah.
areas.
No, of course, with Chimney Rock and all, most of those, you know, Western North Carolina, I mean, there's a few cities that built on the mountainsides or on the mountaintops, but most of them built in the valleys. Because you have that natural resource of water, you have a quick route out, which is just over a mountain you go. So a lot of the things there is mudslides and erosion. If you're in the valley, it's very rare for you to kind of mudslide or erode into the river. If you're driving down any of the highways, like I think I-40 had that bad mudslide. If you're driving between two high mountaintops, and over time, erosion, mudslides do happen. It'll be more of in a valley, kind of spread out. Because a valley, we're not talking about just 200 feet wide. There's a couple hundred feet, if not a couple $100.
In some cases, miles.
Yeah. So with that, the worry of a mudslide happened, yeah, but it's like when a tree falls, does anyone hear it? Same thing. If a mudslide happens or erosion happens, did anyone hear it? But in this case, where the mudslide and erosion happened, it was on the highway. Like we can drive anywhere, going anywhere west, and you have to go through West Virginia, anywhere through mountains, and there's mountains on both sides of you. You can bypass it, but you go up to Ohio, and that's another 4 or 5 hours out of your trip. So we go through it, you know, daily in our lives without really noticing bad rainstorm can literally wash out that highway.
Right.
And unfortunately with this, it was a horrible, devastating storm that also caused endless amount of erosion and mudslides that caused flash flooding and
It's washed away the town.
yeah. So it was just a lot of unfortunate events that all happened at once that no one, no matter how advanced you are, could really prepare for that. Or even have, I mean, there was evacuation plans in place, but again, tropical storm. It
Right.
wasn't a Hurricane Cat 3 coming in, because of course there's no coastal water to keep it flowing. So again, it was a lot of just horrible and devastating, unfortunate news that was never really fully looked into, just because it wasn't a normal thing to happen.
Do you know if there's any other groups down there? Like I've heard Mercy Chefs,
Oh,
some
there's-
places.
I would
and
say one
Operation
Red
Blessing
Cross,
is there.
Operation
FEMA. I
Blessing.
mean,
I'll
there's.
tell you, the biggest response has been from other citizens. I mean,
Yeah.
it's amazing to see other citizens, it's, just, I would say, taking the brunt and saying, we're
Yeah.
gonna go help. And
Yeah.
We'll put our lives on hold to
Neighbors
help
helping
someone else.
neighbors.
Yes.
Neighbors helping
That's
neighbors.
simple.
The Operation Airdrop, I don't know a whole lot about it. I found it all on the social media. Civilian owners of helicopters, which are not cheap to operate, got together and said, we're going to start doing rescues and supply runs. And they're like, guys, all you have to do is mark an X. If it's large enough area, clear enough for me to get in, I'm gonna get in. It doesn't matter if it's a rooftop or a pasture or a side of the road. They're making it happen. The Cajun Navy, which is a product out of it, I believe it was Katrina, it may have happened before, but they are up there. And they're like, game on. And they're a fully functioning nonprofit from my understanding right now. Phenomenally coordinating efforts. And they're self-supportive, and it's just citizens. They're not getting paid to do that.
No,
They're up there because they love this country, love what the people of this country do, and are there willing to help.
that's just awesome. So, what can people do to help? Where can they bring the supplies and everything that you're looking for?
Yep, absolutely. So, I think we say all locations.
Yeah.
Let you guys not remember that. I know it's
okay,
Seahawk.
it's okay.
Our first, our main address for us, we're going to be doing organization and collecting for the next 2 days, actually for the next 4 days, at 500 Woodlake Drive, Suite 108 in Chesapeake, Virginia, as well as Noble Title on Saturday from 8 to 12, which is right by Mount Trashmore. We're doing a drive there as well. There's free breakfast, free lunch, a DJ. We're gonna have our truck there to fill up, as well as the garage to fill up as well.
Can you give me that 500 Woodlake what
Drive.
Drive? Okay, that's
Sure.
really HRPDC.
What?
Woodlake Drive over in Chesapeake. You
Right
get
there
off
across from
64 and
Princeton
right.
all- yes,
Okay.
sir.
Yeah.
All right.
And
I had seen something about in Virginia Beach. There was something like Seahawk.
Yep.
Yeah.
yeah, that's where you are.
That's
Now,
us.
let me understand again so I can post
Yeah.
it.
Yeah,
It's
we gotta
500
put it on.
Woodlake Drive is your
It's-
facility.
Yes, sir. It's Suite 109.
Sweet.
And then someone's manning it from the hours of 8 to 6 every day.
8 to 6.
Probably me most of the
Okay.
time.
Okay, is that Monday through Friday?
Yes, ma'am.
Is
Yep.
this end Friday?
It's not on the weekend.
And Friday.
Ends Friday.
And then we do pickups as well. We just
Okay.
did food pickups today as well.
Okay,
Alright,
so
now-
if somebody has a lot of stuff,
call us.
you'll go and pick it up,
Absolutely.
and there's their phone number
Yep.
for people to
Yeah,
call you.
absolutely. 757-749-7212. If I don't answer, one of my sales reps will answer. They just
Okay.
direct me to pick it up.
And then Seahawk.
Yeah, in Virginia Beach, we have our facility, 789 Seahawk Circle, Unit 114. Drop off right there on site, same hours. We are operating 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Through Friday evening as of right now. We may extend into next week as needed based on our runs. Phone number for any coordination there is 757-618-8164. And if I could also mention that in Norfolk, BC Designs and Graphics, I don't have their address. You can Google them. That staff, they have a large warehouse. They're collecting donations. We're going to go pick it up from there as well.
Oh, okay.
And then down at
People in Norfolk can go drop stuff off
Yep.
over there, and you'll eventually get
and
it.
then we'll go pick it up.
You'll go pick it
Yeah,
up.
pick it up from there. And then the Island Restaurant in Sandbridge, if you're in the southern portion of Virginia Beach, they are also collecting donations, and we will be picking it up over the weekend from there.
And Sandbridge Tattoo.
And Sandbridge
well.
Tattoo, yes.
Which is off Elson
Yeah,
Green.
I will tell you, the beauty of this is no one's alone. When we push it out, it was like a network enabling a network enabling a network, and the first and second, third order effects of people who wanting to help. We
I mean, it's
didn't
just
want to be
snowballed.
overran
We
with
have like
donations.
all of Tidewater here from
Yeah.
every city
Yeah.
collecting stuff.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
the Eastern Shore. About 10 minutes before we walked in here, I was sent a video from the owner of Sandbridge Tattoo, and she said, Amy, how much space do you have? Because I'm going to send you a video of what the Eastern Shore has collected. And I said, let me see what you got, Crystal. And she sent me the video, and I was like, holy cow. But I said, thankfully, between our 4,000 square foot warehouse and Breyer's newly acquired as of Monday morning, tell me that's not a great thing. Monday morning is when he got this warehouse. 13,000 square feet is what Breyer has. So we can accommodate a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So I said, bring it on.
Yep.
Bring
And
it
then also,
on.
we have a Hampton location, our secondary branch. That's 3,000 incubator.
That's right.
Sesame Street incubator.
Yes, sir. I know. Yeah, when my branch manager told me that, I was like, are you sure that's what I need?
Incubator what? Drive, whatever, okay. In Hampton?
Incubator Road. Yeah, Hampton, yep. And it's suite 102 and 101.
101,
And that's going to be
102.
manned from the hours of 9 to 3.
3.
We didn't fully address that question from Mr. Moss about the cash donation. So, for example, my mom and father, they live in Creeds, and they're very active in their church up there, and their church said, we want to help.
Charity
So-
Neck?
Nope, they go to Oak Grove Baptist.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. And tight little community out there, and they all want to help. Everybody wants to help, they just sometimes don't know how. So some of them drive out, some of them don't. So they said, can we just collect some money? And can they go do good stuff with money? I said, absolutely. So we also have that as an option as well. So lots of local churches and organizations have decided to gather money instead of goods. We are fine with that. So what we'll do with that money is once we have John's brother Jeff on the ground there tomorrow, and we really know what those needs are that maybe we haven't met and put out in our listing of please bring us X, Y, and Z, then we can take that money and fill in those gaps with those needed items.
We are
So
not
that is
a
good.
501c3.
No, we're not.
We're not.
No,
So
okay.
the financial
We're
side
not.
of it.
Right.
I
Right.
highly recommend, and I'm not going to recommend any one particular. If you want to do a monetary
Yep.
donations, there's plenty of great
Absolutely.
organizations out there
Right,
to
like
do
some
so.
Mercy Chefs or
Yes,
Operation
absolutely.
Blessing.
Yes, ma'am.
But in these situations, we have been donated some cash, and
Mhm.
most of the time they say use this however you need to do
How
what
about
you're doing.
gas,
How
diesel?
about gas?
Yeah.
So
That's
no,
right.
yeah, so
That's
no,
right.
that for me, that
yes.
is.
Yes.
I
We're
tell
gonna figure it
everybody, I tell everybody, like, just to give you background on me, I started this company at 19, 24 now, didn't grow up in a lot of money or anything. Like I said, prior military, still military now. End of the day, it's just people helping people.
Yep.
I mean, for me, money comes and goes, but having a beacon of hope is probably the biggest thing. I always say, without a community, there's nothing. We just try to be a pillar within the
Yes.
community.
Yep.
You
That's
can't
it.
hold up a building with one stud, so you need all of it.
I'll say this, everybody that keeps coming up, they're like, thank you so much. I say, no, don't thank us. We're just the willing vessel. We're just the willing vessel. We own some businesses here. We love our community, and we have space to bring the stuff. We just said, bring it to us. We'll do good
Yeah.
with it. It's
We
thank
will,
you.
yeah.
You are the community. You are the givers.
And you have the connection to the
We have all
area
the
for the
connections.
people on the ground to
Right.
give you
So
the
it made
information.
more sense
Yes.
there. Like John, like when he got off the phone with his brother Sunday, I was coming back from Florida actually, and he texted me, and all I said was absolutely the period, because John knows if there's anything that needs to be done or has to be done, he knows that I'm always there. Even if it's just me or company wide,
So true.
either way,
So
they're
true.
always there for me, and I'm always there for them. It's not even like I go up here; it's literally just one for one.
Yeah.
So that's why like there was no second thought of like monetary
No
stuff. I was like,
hesitation.
how many drugs? I mean that's, and it's not just like that's not us trying to talk us up. It's just being bigger than oneself.
Yes.
And that's literally what us humans need to do more of.
It is.
Yeah.
And just help one another.
Well,
And back to the fuel portion.
Mhm.
If someone wants to say, hey, I want to help with the fuel piece, get us a gift card to a Wawa or Exxon
Something, I
Mobil
mean,
or
yeah,
something
we're not,
like that.
we're not asking.
And
for
know
that.
that, because we are incurring expenses and we're fine with that.
Yeah.
yes.
Right, and then who's gonna be running your businesses while you're gone doing
The
that?
wives.
course
Is that-
The
So
wives.
Amy,
Yes.
you're in
Yes,
charge.
I am.
Well, I've got to shout out the crew
No.
of
Oh
that
my
we
gosh.
have.
Yes, I'm kidding.
Phenomenal.
Totally phenomenal.
They're working the jobs for the business during the day. They're coming in the afternoons, helping us sort the donations coming
Yes.
in. We had a guy who's like, I'll stay here this evening as long as I'm needed. Just let me know. And they're doing that.
Yes.
And it's a team effort.
It's
Yeah.
a team effort,
You know,
and they're seeing it.
Yeah, like my guy in the same thing, they're going out we're moving junk. We're going out and moving people's houses. That like when I left the warehouse literally at 6:38 to come here, I had a whole 8-man crew going through everything, organizing. We set up another, I think 5 or 6 volunteers will come tomorrow. Just random people from social media to come help out, organize, box up, palletize. So at the end of the day, yeah, it's one team, one fight. Like my guys, they do enough with moving on, but you still have the effort and just
The fire.
Yeah,
I mean,
just coming back and just being like again more like our philosophy is just being better than the day before,
Yes.
and now it's true than ever.
Yes,
Diane, let
any
me
question?
jump in. Well, no, I just want to make an observation. Bob, we have the infrastructure here for hurricane preparedness. You know, all of the communications, everything. Now, these rural places, they could have never prepared for this. I mean, there's no way in the world.
No.
I mean, it's just like Matthew. I mean, we were prepared for it coming, but we have canals like I
We
live
weren't
here in Green
prepared for
Run,
what happened.
and they had never been dredged, never in over 50 years. So over the years, all the siltation filled in, and I used to watch at the normal level, egrets standing in the water, and I could see their feet. So there was no carrying capacity. So when the water came, it blew up transformers along the canal. It was unbelievable. So what can the people in the rural areas ever do to prepare for something like this, Bob? I mean, is there any?
I think in Virginia, we've had this experience before, not as many, but during Hurricane Camille. And that was in the mountains, and the hurricane came across. It was a tropical storm, and it dumped all the water in the western part of Virginia. As a matter of fact, one of my friends, he and his family, he was a young person then, teenager, and he and his family were in a house in the western part of Virginia in the mountains, and they got a call late at night on the old telephones that we used to have, and woke them up. They went downstairs to answer it, and the lady said, "Get out! There's a flash flood. The river is coming over, and it's unreal." And they got out. They were going out of the house. Just got what they had on, and got out of the house. And then the water came up around them. It was up to their waist, and they were trying to make it to the car. They couldn't. His father said, "Make it to the railroad tracks," because that's built on higher ground. So they went to the railroad tracks. His father had to pull his father's sister out of the car because the car was moving away because of the water. It washed the house away. It washed everything away. 3 days they walked to try to get across the river to get where they could get food and stuff again. Finally saw somebody with a boat because all the bridges were knocked out from the debris and the houses going down and just tore them up, and then they were gone. So they were without food for 3 days until they could get somebody came across with a boat and got them on the other side of the river. And it was just mountains and woods and stuff on that side. But I believe this is going to happen again because things are changing. And we need to start preparing for that. So if you see something coming, the weather folks and all, NOAA and the other services, National Weather Service and all, need to try to figure out a way to prepare us for what do they think the atmosphere and how much water is in the atmosphere and will happen. And if that's so, then we need to come down off the mountain, come down to safe places. I think they need to use LiDAR, for elevations, and we need more elevations. You can get an elevation certificate on your house to see where you are, but you have to know what the elevation is around you because that water is coming down. If you live on the side of a mountain, you know. But we're going to see more mudslides and everything. I see houses and buildings built on the sides of hills and mountains that are really at risk. So you really need to go, and the government helps, the people in government needs to help us identify very safe places to go, and then we just need to go there and prepare, because even if you lose your property, you don't lose your life. Like I brought over with me a life preserver might save your life.
Want to show it?
Yeah, sure. So it's just a regular life preserver.
You get that at Walmart?
Yeah,
Well,
you can
everywhere.
get them at lots of places, and that might save your life because when we were having hurricane, when Matthew hit us, it was a tropical storm here. They had up in Danville, several people were holding on, and the whole downtown area got flooded. And so there were 3 of them, and they were holding on, and they couldn't hold on any longer, and they all lost their lives. And so had they had on at least life preservers, they might have been able to survive. and not always, but because of the rivers and the speed of the water. But here you could, because the water will come in, but it's not going to be like a raging river. So we've had this before. We need to identify those places. We need to do some LiDAR with aviation to figure out where these safe places are and where the low areas that you don't look like they're low now, but they will be. Like when we were here, we're in the middle of Virginia Beach. You never expected us to flood.
Right,
So-
inland, flooded
yes.
inland.
And it identifies, I saw a video, I think, like you did, about the helicopter pilot who had worked with the police, worked with the fire before, and they kicked him out. Well, we have ADSB, so that gives you an indication of aircraft around you. Plus we have temporary flight restrictions, and they can organize that better. And we need to do that because we need to organize folks that have helicopters and airplanes to be able to, they can call on them when they need to them, just like we have Angel aircraft for people. That's all private stuff as well, but it's organized. And if the government would work with us, work with folks, then they could organize that. And we're going to need to do this because this is going to happen again and again because the weather is changing. And you don't have to be a scientist or believe it one way or the other. It's just happening.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think preparedness is the key. When we walked in, you were talking about your go bags and things like that.
Right, right.
But equipment is one thing. The most important thing you can have to prepare yourself is knowledge and training.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not just reading books on how do I navigate or how do I cross a river. That's actually going out and doing it. Right?
Sure.
And learning it and having the confidence that, hey, when the time's right, it's time for me to go. I have the confidence, I have the equipment, I know where my plan is, and I'm going to be able to execute it. And, as much as we pride ourselves on a democracy and a good government, the country is made up of people. And the people have to be self-sustaining to some degree. And it's greater than 24 hours in my world. When we first got together, she made fun of me because she saw I had tubs of emergency rations that are good for 25 years. And she's like, "Are you a prepper?" I'm like, "I'm not a prepper, but I take pride in being prepared." And not that prepper's a good or a bad word, but some people do take it to an extreme or whatever, but some people don't do it at all.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to do it at the last minute.
Yeah.
You
You
know,
can't
it's
do
like
it at
all of a sudden
No.
it's now going to hit us.
Yeah.
And now everybody's running to the store to get stuff. You know.
I will follow up with that we met in 2020, so it was just coming out of
some
COVID.
food.
It was coming out of COVID, so he was prepared. Yes.
Jonathan, let me ask you a question. Speaking of MREs, I was in with, of course, C rations, K rations back then.
Yeah.
But what about MREs?
I
Because
think
they're being sold out on the commercial market. I mean,
yeah, absolutely. They're
I don't-
crazy expensive.
are they really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
What are they? About $15 a meal now?
I think so.
I think a pack of 12 is over $120.
Yeah. It's like around 140, 150. I mean, it's
Yeah.
really
They're crazy
insane.
expensive.
Yeah.
But what's the price for your life?
Mm.
I
Yeah.
mean, those MREs, one meal would carry most guys for one day.
Yeah.
And if you were rationing that one meal, you could go a day and a half,
Yeah.
maybe.
Especially when you got packed
You know?
up.
Yeah. When you have 12 of them times 1.5, you're looking
Yeah.
at 18 days that I can live out of one box.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
There's so many options out there. There's plenty of resources for how to prepare, how to fix food. I mean,
Tablets to clean the water.
tablets to clean the water.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's the issue up there. They have plenty of water. It's
Yeah,
just
but
all
it's
dirty.
not drinkable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not drinkable.
Yeah,
So
the
how do
filter.
you clean that? And a lot of people up there have gardens and things like that, which is all good. It's kind of
Sure.
mid
It's washed
season
away.
stuff. But
It's washed away.
Not washed
You
away.
dig
But
it
I
out
bet
of
you
the
they
mud.
got canned goods, but again, if the
Canned
house
goods,
is
but if
gone,
you don't have an electric can
Can
opener,
opener.
you have your John
So,
Wayne.
Right.
Yeah.
absolutely.
So we did
What was
include
it?
that in our list.
P38.
Yeah, we did.
We said
the-
if you're going to get
P38.
canned goods, please give a
P38,
manual. Please give a manual can opener. Because
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
good is a can of anything when you're starving and you can't open it? You can't
Yeah.
go to your drawer
Oh,
and
I'll
pull out
find a
can
way to
opener.
open it.
I know.
You aren't
Oh, you
hungry if
would,
you
yeah.
can't
I
open
know
it.
you would. I know you
Over there
would.
with a
Got
knife.
a rock.
I know you would.
Yeah, the rock. Yeah, that probably.
yeah.
Well, you're pretty close to Central Drive.
Yes,
We're
sir.
right across the street, and Central Drive is where Senator Bill DeStep, his
Yes.
office is right there in Central Drive. So, Have you given any thought on this, promoting this thing, like maybe sometime tomorrow's Thursday, to do some live streaming, Facebook Live, so it goes out to the community from your facility and tell, it's just,
Yeah,
A
here
little
we are
comment.
loading up the truck.
Yeah, and all of that.
You know,
going down or anything like
We
that.
are. I've never been one to want to be in front of anything. We're not doing this for recognition. We're doing this to help.
but you're not another pretty face you could probably have Amy do it.
That's why I married her.
Oh.
You've got beauty and something.
And Briar,
But
I'm sorry, buddy, but
he loves the lot.
Listen. I am not. I do on my social media. The last thing I ever wanted
Lisa.
or did was do this for any type of publicity or
No.
anything. But I will put my face out there to have
Yeah.
people come donate.
Yeah.
I mean, that's end of the day. I will put on the biggest smile to have people come out and donate because again, if I just have to smile from your show, I will smile
Yeah.
24/7. But no, I think myself and Amy, do you do the J-Dog thing?
I do.
Yeah.
What-
So me and her are very active. I know John is very active as well, and so is my wife Casey. She loves being behind the scenes, just because we have 3 beautiful kids that she's always trying to run after.
Yeah.
So am I, but also trying to run the business, but also make sure that we have everything we need for the relief drive. But with that, we are very active on social media. I mean, we're probably posting 20 posts, or be posting every day.
A lot.
More because that's the thing. If people can't donate, can't even monetary or anything, just sharing and liking.
Share it,
Mhm.
yes.
I mean, I hate to say
We'll
that.
share all of this information too for
Awesome.
people to
Perfect.
donate in those places.
No, absolutely, and that's all we can ask for. Even if you can't, just tell your friends, family, tell church. We just had one of my Joshua Calderon went to his Rotary meeting today for lunch and talked about it. I mean, just as simple as that, it's just passing the word.
Yes.
There are ways to help. There's so
Yeah.
many ways to help.
Endless.
We're just one option here at Hampton Roads.
That's it.
I didn't even know it was mentioned in the newspaper. Did you guys? I had no
Was it
idea.
in the newspaper?
It
I didn't
was.
see it in the
No.
I didn't see
newspaper.
it.
I seen it on Facebook.
Yeah.
I saw it on the newspaper
I mean, we had
because
Wavy 10, all these things that happened. We were just
We-
doing just to
we
have
just-
fill up a truck.
Yeah.
And that was the broad scheme of things. Now it's looking like filling up probably my whole
Well,
fleet.
and
Yeah.
before I called Briar, my neighbor has an enclosed trailer they're looking to sell, and I have a truck to tow it. And I was like, "Hey, Roberto, can I borrow your trailer if this, if we have enough to fill up a trailer?" And he was like, "Yeah, man, whatever you need, let me know." And
Oh my
I'm like,
goodness.
"Okay." So I was like, "Well, it's easy to fill up a trailer. I mean, it's a smaller trailer." I was like, I will fill up that trailer if I'm going to make the trip. I'm not going to drive a half-empty trailer anywhere."
Yeah.
And I was like, "What if we get more than that?"
Oh my goodness.
the only thing,
Oh my
the
goodness.
reason why I brought up the Facebook, because as the supplies come in,
Mm-hmm.
you're tracking what you are getting in,
Mm-hmm.
and you like when you're having a cookout, you don't want everybody to bring potato salad.
Sure.
Correct.
So you need to be able to point
Sure.
out to the
Yep.
social media
Yes.
what's needed.
Yes.
Yeah.
We need more
Right.
baby diapers. We
Yeah.
need more water,
So the
sanitary.
so the cool thing is, I coach at Great Neck Middle. So during the practice, I had Sarah with Noble Title, and I think Amy was calling. And I gave them the idea. I was like, "Hey, I'm gonna have some volunteers come in tomorrow because after this, I'm going right back to the warehouse. I'll be there till about 11 p.m. Go home, wake up with my kids, drop them off to school, go right back to the warehouse."
Yeah.
So for me, it's like for all of us, it's really just part of the job at this point. Like, it's just another thing we are part of, another thing we signed up for as business owners, as you know. But for me, we're having 5 to 6 volunteers plus myself and the wife going through everything, labeling. They've already done 4 pallets for us plus other things. But all the things we have received donations from, I've gone out and picked up. We're going through separating the batteries from the food, the perishable goods from the canned goods,
Batteries,
and going
yeah.
through that. So so stuff like
Yeah.
that. So batteries, we only have a very few of
Flashlights.
those. Definitely batteries, flashlights. But like for instance, tomorrow I have a tripod. I'm gonna throw it up in the warehouse. I have Facebook Live / whatever we need just to kind of get the word out and kind
Right.
of get the social media whatever.
Yeah.
Get that start to
That's
roll.
right.
But again, social media is our greatest friend.
Yes.
I mean, even the newspaper.
Yes.
So there's a lot of ways in TV. So right now I'm not saying there's an excuse, but just hit share.
Yeah.
Like,
Hit share.
comment.
Yeah.
It's as
You
simple
never
as
know who's
share
gonna
and
see
likes
it.
free. I mean that's as simple as I put it.
Now, how do we get on your Facebook page? What's it going to
Yeah,
be?
what Facebook page are
Yep.
you
So
on?
we have you can follow my personal because I do a lot of things. Briar
Is it your
Bachman.
business page or is it
It's
your
my personal, and I
page?
do a business page as well.
Okay.
Then offload moving, so OFF dash.
Yeah, but you said your personal
Brian, yep, B-R-I-A-R Bachman, B-A-U-G-H-M-A-N.
Right.
There's a picture of me and my son in our off-field moving shirts,
Right.
and that's why I do most of that because that's where we have our business page gets a lot of followers, but we also have all our networking on our personal
Okay.
page.
Brian Bachman.
Yes, sir. That's it.
Oh, that's it?
Yep, yep.
That it?
Just on
Thank you.
Facebook.
Right, and then
Thank
you have a business page
Yep,
called
Offload Moving.
Offload Moving.
Yes, ma'am. Yep.
Okay, and your page,
So ours,
is it on yours page?
our
too?
business page is J-Dog Junk Removal and
I saw it.
Hauling dash Virginia Beach. And also would like to include J-Dog Junk Removal and Hauling dash Chesapeake. Trade Parts is helping us out as well.
Okay.
And then Amy Paul and Jonathan Paul, we both kind of share out on our own personal pages as well.
And
No.
also to add to that noble title, they have their event posted right now from 8 to 12 for Saturday. So that, like I said, free breakfast and lunch. I think all three of us will be there, collecting the donations, putting them on the truck, and then after that, pretty much picking up all the donations from the garage, sorting through them and loading them up. I think Sunday do the final push, and then myself and John head out on Monday morning to go deliver.
We may be running to the Eastern Shore
Yeah.
at some point because they're
Yeah.
gathering quite a lot.
So we'll definitely have a lot of trucks all around Hampton Roads.
Hey, Diane, let me ask you a question. What about focusing Saturday on collecting food and whatever at Mom's
your
Kitchen?
meeting?
Yeah,
Yeah, you could do that.
yeah.
His meeting, Tidewater Liberty Partners, this is hosted by the Virginia Beach Tea Party and Tidewater Liberty Partners. Their meeting is Saturday morning at 9 a.m. at Mom's Kitchen.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
very
You
nice.
know,
Very
it's good.
nice.
We could just make it into an event.
You could.
And
Yeah.
they're in touch with also the Hell's Angels,
Oh,
the motorcycle club.
Right.
And
Yeah.
they were responding. There's like 400 or 500 of them.
Yeah.
They're very benevolent,
Yeah.
very benevolent.
Yeah, I mean,
Sure,
and
Mike
if it
would-
makes it
would
easier,
help.
I'll
Yeah.
throw a truck over there the
Yeah.
night before and let
Load
it
it
hang
up.
out, and then y'all can load it up, and
Yes.
after the other event, I'll come by and
Let me see
help
what
out
I
with
can
anything I
see
do.
what we
Drive
can work
two
on.
trucks at once.
I'm driving Friday night and Saturday morning.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
How old is your oldest?
Yeah,
Or
he's
get him-
5.5.
Spider-Man? Yeah.
Yeah, he can hop on the driver's seat, maybe like a tire or two.
Hey, Bob, could you, Lisa's right there behind us. Could you ask her to come over here, please?
Well, it's 8 o'clock.
Lisa. Oh, we're getting ready to go off. Could you just ask her to come over here for a moment? My girlfriend.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, Lisa.
Oh, she's up behind you.
Lisa, where are you? Could you come around here into the room? I need, come in here for a moment. Lisa's my girlfriend. She's a retired Virginia Beach police officer.
Very nice.
And so,
I think so.
Lisa, what do you think about Saturday as just a special event for collecting
great.
foods and everything for
Great.
Saturday?
I'd like to get a lot of people there for you. I love what you're doing. I have a volunteer heart as well.
Mhm.
I love what you're doing.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you
Thank
so
you.
much.
And I really like Samaritan's Purse too. I know they're on the ground there.
Mhm.
You're
Yes.
very familiar with that organization, NCBN, so.
Yes.
What is
God bless you.
CBN doing?
Mhm.
Does anybody know yet?
They're probably already gone.
I don't know what they're doing.
Not
I mean,
Yeah.
can't keep track of everybody.
Oh, no, you're right.
The amount, yeah.
Just do what you're doing.
I know.
No,
It's-
absolutely.
Because you have connections there that other people might not have. So
Yeah.
you know who to contact and what to do.
Well, tomorrow's Thursday.
just
We
make
could
sure that
plan something.
The
Yeah.
items get to the right place.
Yes.
Too. That's the
key.
biggest thing.
That's
We don't want to.
always
We don't
the
want to
key.
just drop it off at a depot
No.
an hour away and it just sits there.
No.
We'd rather be, I hate to say front lines and
Mhm.
go
Yeah.
if we have to go hand it to them.
It's direct impact.
We're
with
very
us.
yeah
It's
we're
direct
very
impact.
yeah we'd rather
Yeah.
be like really if we have to be feet on the ground delivering it if it comes down to that. I mean it's we'd rather do that than say well we dropped it off there. Is it gonna get there or not?
Well, this
We're gonna
might
make
be a
sure.
long journey. They're
Yes.
gonna need
Well, it
help for a
is.
It'll be-
long
it is
I've
a
driven
long journey.
So
A lot of
if you
rebuilding,
keep
getting lives back together.
pushing
and
this
stuff.
and
Oh, yeah.
you know,
It's gonna
we'll
be, I
help
mean-
you push this out
Thank
because
you.
this is
Awesome.
not gonna end
No.
tomorrow, next
Mm-mm.
week,
This-
next month. It's
Right.
gonna be months
Yes.
and months.
If,
Oh.
if not,
Yeah.
if not, I hate to say if not years.
And
Yeah, you're right.
sometimes
I gotta rebuild
enthusiasm
towns.
wanes with another storm or whatever, so we'll
Yeah.
keep,
Well, the
anything we
weather's
can
coming.
do.
What snow are they?
Oh, can
going
you
to have,
imagine?
know?
Yeah, I mean,
Oh,
it's-
the roads up there are horrible in the wintertime.
Yeah. So it's,
My father used to be provost marshal at Leeds McRae College.
Okay.
So I used to many trips up there. Boy, it's
We had a couple pull up in the parking lot late this afternoon, and
Giving
they
donations.
didn't get out. They didn't get out, and they were almost like a little bit hesitant. And they asked us a few questions, and then he said, we were in Asheville Friday night during the storm. They were visiting Asheville. They just got back home last night. They were probably in their 60s. They live in Sandbridge, and they said, we just want to give you guys some money. It's the worst thing we have ever seen in our lives. And the wife piped over and she said, if we give you money, this is going directly to the area. And I said, oh yes, ma'am. I said, I wish my husband was here so he could make money because that's his heart. But we promise you that, like, everything we're gathering, whether it's money or whether it's diapers, or it's going to go directly to the
Yeah.
people who need it.
Well, thank you all for coming.
Yeah.
Thank you for what you're
Thank you.
doing.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
thank
And
you.
we will pass this out. We
Yes.
will share and
Yes.
like. Thank you, Bob, for coming
Yeah.
for the hurricane preparedness,
Mm-hmm.
because more people need to be aware of what they need to do.
And I know that Diane is a Patriots fan, but you can't see the pumpkin there, but it's got the Steeler logo on it.
Very nice.
And I'm the head of the Steeler fan club. We have right at 4,500 members right now, so we'll put out a big notice to them too.
Yeah,
Awesome.
please do.
And
Send me a link to that, cause my neighbors are still a fan.
Oh, is that right?
my
Okay.
goodness, yes, they are.
so Diane, do you want to make any closing comments?
Tea Party meeting, October 10th, Thursday night, 7 p.m., 2849 Princess Anne Road. We're having a city council forum, districts 1, 3, 5, 7, and 8. And
That's awesome.
No other closing comments?
I just wanna thank
yes.
everyone who's provided donations,
Sure.
absolutely, on behalf of J-Dog and Offload Moving, and all the network members out there that are accepting donations, thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, obviously.
Well, we'll
Yes.
be posting this on our Facebook pages and everything. Okay, that's it.